What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film Fresh Cuts, where we talk about brand new releases out in your favorite theaters or on your favorite streaming services. Today, we are talking about the Disney Pixar movie Turning Red. Joining me, as always, is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And I am Brett Parker. This is our first foray into like full on animation. Like we did Nightmare Before Christmas. We did a full podcast on that, which it was, it's animation, it's claymation, but this is like our first like full on animated movie that we've talked about on this show.
Yes.
And it's Pixar, which is probably one of my favorite studios when it comes to animation. So it's good to jump into this. Let's just start it off. Let's talk about what we thought of this movie, and we'll start with you guys, of course, as always.
You want to be the ray of sunshine today?
I was disappointed.
Okay, that's fine. That's why we're here.
It's clearly not fine, or he would have said, that's fine. Just good.
I wanted to like it because so many people were divisive. You know, it was such a big division between the people that liked it and the people that hated it. I was disappointed because I wanted it to be better. So, like I get some of the lessons that needed to be learned or whatever that they're trying to get across, but I didn't like it. I didn't hate it like some people hated
it because they didn't agree with the message. If you shouldn't, like, essentially, I'm not going to get into it especially, but they didn't like. Some people didn't like it because it seemed like you weren't supposed to listen to your parents or something, or they perceived it to be that way, or whatever.
Yeah, I feel there was a number of things that people were kind of like, why is this, what is this movie's message? I don't think anyone has fully figured it out other than the people that made the movie or people who really were just like, it's really not that hard if you think about it.
I had a pretty good idea, but I'll get to that later.
Just wanted it to be more entertaining, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. This was definitely one of the lower ones in my liking of Pixar movies, because I like most Pixar movies. I do like that it has Sandra Oh in it, but
she was so good.
Yeah, that's about it. I'm done. I'm done.
It was all right. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie either. The movie as a whole is entertaining. It is. I do not like the beginning. The beginning part I didn't like. The very, very beginning. I don't really care for like literally like the first 10 minutes of the film, 10, 15 minutes of the film. And like because I don't like the main character. Mei. I just don't care for her as a main character. Like she's supposed to be this person getting individuality, but
yeah, she's
really sporadic and random. And this has nothing to do with being a kid because I like all the other kids in the movie, even the annoying piece of shit Tyler one that picks on him because he's like the bully analogy. But I just don't like her. I think she's annoying. I think she's kind of shit to her friends at times. I think she's shit to her parents at times. And just as an individual, like as a character story, I don't care for her. Yeah. After the first bit, the rest of the movie was pretty entertaining. But yeah, it was all right. This is probably one of the lower Pixar movies for me. It's definitely not Cars 2 bad.
Oh,
but like
Cars 2, like I won't even watch. As bad as Cars 2.
No, I won't even watch that. But out of all the Pixar films I've watched, this is definitely one of the lower ones. However, for me, once I get past the initial 10, 15 minutes,
like that introduction period,
yeah, I felt the movie was fine. Right. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how to conclude. It's very, in my opinion. You good?
Yeah.
She's just waiting for what you say.
No, I had to watch it twice because I fell asleep.
You fell asleep like 3 times. She fell asleep on her second viewing of it.
It's like he said, the first 10 minutes, and I still woke up by the time I got to a part I hadn't seen.
Anyhow, because that fits. I just felt very play-by-play at times. Like a lot of like this, like some big like point to the movie. I'm like, well, that's pretty predictable. Which I'm not saying that's not a problem with kids movies because they're kind of not. I should say kids, but like family movies because that does happen a lot. But it was just like very telegraphed, in my opinion. It's like this is when this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Everybody's going to love and hug, and the end.
I did enjoy the end though. Like
Yeah.
that was probably the best part. Like
you enjoyed
not the end. Like there's
She's a 4-towner. It's okay.
No, I'm not.
Come on, it was the times, all right? That's listen,
Yes.
are you got anything else you want to add?
No, Sarah said watch this at school, and she's like, "Mom, when you get to the 4-town part, pause it so I can watch it."
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna be on the other side here. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This movie is fun. I'm such a sucker for Pixar and Disney as a whole. Their movies are always just gonna grab me, except for Cars 2. That movie sucks. I've watched this movie twice, like fully, didn't fall asleep. Just want to throw that out there. No, I had a lot of fun with it. I like because it's set in 2002. I was a little younger than the main character was at that time, but I remember all of that stuff, the Tamagotchis and the boy band craze. I wasn't part of that, but like I had a sister who was obsessed with NSYNC, so I knew.
Yep.
I can relate to these kids. And we talked about Tyler for a second. We talked about the Adam Project. We talked about the bullies that were in that movie and how they were just stereotypical bullies. Tyler was a legit bully that I can remember from school. Like he was that kid he had vulnerabilities where he was, he did things, he still did things that other kids were doing, but he was just that typical bully that would just like make fun of you to make fun of you. But then like later on in the day, like you guys could talk.
Yeah, he didn't come off like as, even if let's just say hypothetically there was some main like male character, he doesn't come off as the type of bully like you see in a lot of movies that just beats up people. He's like you said, he's like a verbal abuser.
Yeah,
like he makes fun of you. Like that's how most of the bullies were I knew growing up. They just made fun of you, like you fucking dickhead.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, he was. Yeah, I agree.
I liked the main character. I thought she was good because I liked the fact that she was trying to be herself, but being herself around her mother was so hard. And especially because her mom was so controlling of what she was doing. But I mean, not, in the beginning of the movie, you don't know what's going to happen. So did she know that, she knew eventually, Malin was going to turn into the panda. And she was just trying to. Well, too bad. That's what we do on the show.
Keep going.
This is the farthest we've actually gotten into this without spoilers, so I'm pretty proud.
We keep going. We're going good.
This movie, so the director, it was directed by Domi Shi. This is her first full-length feature film. She directed a short called Bow, which was fantastic. It's on Disney Plus if you haven't seen it. It's a short film, won an Academy Award for Best Short. It's literally about a woman who is making dumplings, and one of the dumplings like becomes alive, and she like takes care of it like her child. It's like kind of a, it's just a parent taking care of her kid, and then when it gets older, and the relationship becomes strained type deal. It's really good. Go watch it. It's a short. I think it's less than 10 minutes long. But this movie is very reflective of Domi Shi, as she is from Toronto. She was an only child. Her parents, there's actually a documentary that you can watch on the making of this movie that's also on Disney Plus, which I watched because I love that shit. And she talked about how her mom, her parents were kind of controlling in a way, but she still has a very good relationship with them, and, allowed her to branch out and do the things that she wanted to do, which is, right now is being part of a huge company like Pixar and making your own movie. So I like that it reflected the life of the person who is making the movie. But the character, I really enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the the big fight at the end, which was just like, there's some great lines at the end where the whole thing is that when the women get to a certain age and they start going through the change, puberty, they turn into pandas. Like when they start to stress out or when they start getting angry or something, they turn into red pandas. Well, and it all happens to every woman in this like line. It all started like, in ancient times when this woman, she purposely wanted to turn herself into a red panda, and then it kind of just traveled down the line. So the fact when the dad is sitting with Mei Lin, when they have to go through this ritual or the ceremony where they're going to extract the panda spirit out of her so she doesn't keep turning into the red panda, which another reason why I love this movie, I love red pandas. They're like one of my favorite animals. Yeah. I go to the zoo, I go to the red panda, I'll stay there for like 20 minutes just watching them do stuff. The red pandas are adorable.
They are.
So they do this ritual to extract the spirit of this red panda, but so before the whole ritual, the dad is sitting with Mei Lin, which the dad is great, because he's just one of those guys that he's, I don't want to go into too much because I don't really know that much about Chinese culture, but he's very to himself. He does what he has to do to make sure his wife's happy, and he's always there for his daughter. And he's very quiet. He doesn't say a lot. He doesn't have much dialogue in this movie up until probably later on into the film. But the little things that he says was just so impactful for her, because he pretty much helps her determine that she doesn't want to get rid of it. She is she's accepting what she is, and maybe the message comes off differently for most people when, the whole thing with while they're fighting. So the whole thing is she wants to keep the panda. She runs away, and then the mother, who has already gone through the ritual and everything, and she has a medallion that it traps the spirit, and she breaks out, and she turns into Godzilla pretty much. Like Godzilla panda. God panda.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this big fight, and she's, the whole thing was the Mei Lin was, she's like, I want to, I like, Four Town, and I like to gyrate. And I was like, okay, this will get a little weird. But it's I think that's where people were, it's just the way that she was talking to her mom was what probably a lot of parents were like, what? So what is this showing? Kids are supposed to just, be mean to their, be rude to their parents, and no, it's about standing up for yourself. She's becoming a woman. She's growing up. She's got interests that her mom might not like, but you know what? You just sometimes, if it's not going to hurt anybody, just let them be. Let your kids explore life. There's certain things where, you'd have to stop them from doing it, but you can't, liking a boy, she likes the boy band, but the mom is so against it. And I can guarantee that's how a lot of parents were back in the day when Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all those other boy bands were out, and girls were just swooning over them, and parents were like, oh, do you see the way they dance? Do you see the way they do this and that? It's very reflective in this movie what actually was going on at that time with a lot of parents, especially
That's nothing new. It's the same thing that happened with Elvis Presley.
Exactly. It's been happening for a long time with, throughout history. But it's also the fact of, it's the culture. It depends on the culture. It depends on, it's always depending on how the parent was raised. They always want to take how they were raised and kind of just dump it onto their kids, which I don't think, as a parent myself, I want my kids to make the right decisions, but also they also have to make mistakes in order to figure out life,
Yeah, Yeah.
You're not the path of life is never straight and smooth. You kind of got to veer off and do some stuff to figure out exactly what you want to do. And I don't know, that's just that for me, that was really impactful in this movie. And that's what made me really enjoy it. A lot of people were giving a shit about the animation. They were like, oh man, 25 films in and the animation doesn't seem like it's improved. It's like, I don't need all the Pixar movies to look realistic. This is very anime-like. And they talked about it in the documentary, is that they wanted to kind of feel like an anime. It's based on, these are Chinese Canadian, at least Maylin and her family, they're Chinese Canadian. Because this takes place in Toronto, but when they see something cute, their eyes go big and they got the stars in their eyes and just certain things. And of course, even though it's more Japanese, I don't know much about, is kaiju like stuff in Chinese? Like, do they have Chinese kaiju?
They do.
I know kaiju is a Japanese word, but right?
Yeah, there's bleed over. I mean, there's anime inspired art and shows and stuff in China as well. So I mean, there's bleed over like anything else. Right.
So yeah, overall, I just really liked this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'll probably watch it again at some point. I have kids, so it'll probably be on my TV at some point soon, along with everything else.
Sure, it will be here too.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like my daughter like turning on and watch it. It's like it's when I expressed earlier. It's not that I don't like the movie. I just didn't think it was as good as I felt it should have been. However, I do feel this movie should have been given a fair shake in cinemas.
Right.
I know they used Omicron as their reason for not doing it, but I think that's shit, because I think that's 2-3 Pixar movies in a row that have been pushed onto streaming.
Well, it's really shitty because it came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
came out March 11th. What do you mean? Like, that was the Batman had already come out, and there was a bunch of other movies. Like, Pixar draws in a lot of people. Like, Pixar makes a lot of money. I mean, Disney as a whole, when it comes to films, depending, no matter what property it is, they're gonna have people drawing in, and it sucks because these, this film went into kind of like a pre-production, I think in 2018 or 2017. Because these animated films, they take a long time to make.
Yeah, of course.
And so the fact that you're working that hard for that long, and it's going on to a streaming service instead of getting that release in theaters. The only places that it was released in theaters were places that didn't have access to Disney Plus.
Well, see, that's the thing is like when we watched the last big movie we watched before this came out. Well, one of the last bigger movies was Uncharted. And we went to our theater, and there was a trailer for this in theaters. And I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before it came out. They just suddenly like, nope, streaming.
Yeah.
And I thought that was shit. No offense. I kind of get what they're getting at, but why don't you just do both? Who fucking cares? Nothing's film anymore. It's all digital. You don't have nearly the cost in it.
Right.
Believe me, I was there when it was film. It's at theaters. That shit is expensive to transport. It's expensive to make. It's just hard drives or downloads now. That's all it is. So I don't see why they didn't just do. And I think it's crap for these people that made this movie. And I think Luca was the other one. Seen, by the way.
Pixar has gotten shafted by Disney the last 3 films. Their last 3 films have been put on Disney Plus. It's BS. It was started with Soul, and then it went to Luca, and now with this, where you had Disney animated movies like Raya and the Last Dragon. What the fuck? There's been a couple other ones too that got theatrical releases. You had Cruella, which is live action, but still, like, you had those movies getting put into theaters, and then they were charging $30 so you could watch it on Disney Plus. But like, the Pixar movie comes out, I was like, nope, you don't have to pay for. I mean, you're paying for Disney Plus, but you don't have to pay extra. That stupid amount. To be honest, that $30 is fucking dumb.
It's bullshit. I can't.
And but yeah, Pixar, to be honest, I enjoy Pixar films more than I enjoy Disney, like the Disney animated movies. That's just how I am. I just think Pixar is a fucking goat when it comes to animated films.
Yeah.
I know another movie that's Disney. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's Disney, and then went to theaters, was Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. All those movies got theatrical releases, but every Pixar one, nope, straight to streaming service. No, I mean,
That's such shit.
Like I said, they did get this did get a theatrical release, but it was in territories that didn't have Disney Plus. So
That's just such crap. But here's another thing. Okay, this may have been something that I guess may have offended people. This is something I want to talk about. I want to see what you guys think, because I was watching this. And this doesn't bother me but I know there's some like dude bros and sensitive people that the movie starts out and she starts turning into the panda, and I'm like, oh, this is, an analogy for, a period, right? A woman going into maturity, right?
The director and all of the people who wrote this movie literally state that's the case.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like that's how it goes into it. And like I can understand like a lot of people be put off because they're like cowards and don't like, oh God, like what the fuck ever, dude. It's a natural thing that people go through. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. You can go buy pads for your wife or significant other and not die. It's okay. But anyway, but that's what I was like, oh, this is what this is. It's literally a period piece. But anyway.
This is good. That's good.
Oh, go ahead. I love you. Yes! It worked out so much better than I thought.
She spit out her drink.
Almost.
I was expecting just this horrible glare when I said that. Okay, fantastic. Perfect.
That's great.
That's awesome.
It really is more than that, in my opinion, because that's how it starts, and I can see a bunch of people like, I don't want to see this. I don't want my kids seeing this. I don't want to know. Whatever. That doesn't fucking matter. But it's literally, as we talked about, a girl or people discovering who they are and being honest about who they are, and just that's fine. And I've got no issue with how this movie played out. I have no qualms with any of that stuff. But I just thought, that's what the movie seemed to me. That's it wasn't just about. I mean, I'm sure I know you said that's what they said it was, but it was more than that. It wasn't just a Tampax commercial. I love you. Oh, and the tiny. Her little tiny friend that's super angry all the time is fantastic.
She's so good.
There's just but we were talking about earlier when I talked about it's like it was very predictable to me, very predictable. You know how you have everything's wonderful in the end, the beginning. Then she has her little like thing where she turns into the panda. Then she's like, I don't know if I should do this, and then she does it with her friends because it's what she wants to do. Then there's conflict. Then she essentially turns on her friends at the end because she doesn't know how to speak up against her mother. And that was a part that pissed me off, but I know it's part of the story, and which I understand.
Wait, now don't call me out. I'm 36 and I don't like talking back to my mom.
But anyway, I understand. It's all about how you're raised.
We're on different sides for that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, the one that doesn't speak up, the dad, has to have the important sentimental moment. And then there's the conflict at the end, and then the resolution, and like I said, hugs and kisses, and embracing who you are, flaws or otherwise. And you mentioned how the dad kind of says like, hey, this is part of you, essentially. You need, embrace, get rid of it if you want, but always remember this will always be a part of you.
Yeah.
And then the women and I don't know if this is an analogy to the red tide.
The red peony or whatever.
Yeah, was it the red? Did the red something?
Peony bloom.
Yeah. So, I'm not trying to be facetious about that because I respect women because they have to deal with that because it just sounds horrible.
Oh yeah,
and I wouldn't want to deal with that at all.
Women go through so much shit.
but all the women in this movie referred to her turning into the panda as a curse. Right. And the dad's the only person that's like, it's just part of who you are.
Right.
Like you can run, get rid of it or just embrace it. And like that, it was just a stereotypical thing. There's always gonna be that one person that's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna be the noble, wise character. I feel like the dad gets shit on. I like the dad.
I love the dad. He's great.
I like the dad. Yeah, I like the dad a lot.
I like how he's famous for his cooking. Like he's so good at it. Like everyone's like,
he's a house dad. It's great. Yeah. I love it.
Like we get to go over for Mr. Lee's cooking. I'm there. Like, yeah.
I was just, I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. But there's stuff I did enjoy about the movie. It was just like this, the first 15 minutes or so I didn't care for, and the rest it was fine. It was
Except
stereotypical,
for
but it
when
was an
he's
enjoyable movie.
cooking.
Huh?
When he's cooking and his glasses like
Fog up.
fog up, but he's all like serious, and then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah, he's great.
It's good stuff.
Um,
It
his
is
name
a
is
fun
Jin,
movie.
by the way.
Jin."
Yeah,
Jin.
there you go. And there's always the mom, like the mom's mom.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the one
grandma
who's like
shows
the
up
one
and
who's
all
like
the
kind of
aunts.
scary, but
Yeah.
you find out she's not as scary as you initially
Yeah.
see. Especially when she calls the first time. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And Ming, the mother, she's kind of like, I don't want to talk to her. Like,
She's curled up
like
on the
she's-
couch,
yeah.
like, "No."
A very similar reaction to what her daughter's going through.
But I
But I guess-
understand the point you were making, where it's like, the dad was the one who had that conversation, and I think people got upset about this. Like, why is it always got to be the woman who is the bad guy? And it's like, because that fits for this story.
Yeah,
it's the women go through this transformation. They go through this shit. No man would be able to fucking go through. 'Cause we're
Not
all
fun.
bitches.
we are.
And
You ever seen us get a cold? Oh my god.
oh my god, it's the
I think you're
worst.
dying.
Well, I see my 10-year-old get a cold, and he's the worst. He's only 10.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
yeah, but the women are going through this change, so it wouldn't make sense for the mom to have that conversation, because she's, she has to play it. She's the tough one. She's the one who is she's the head of the household, even though there is a father figure there, or there is a father. She's the strong one holding everything down.
It's a very matriarchal family.
Yeah.
And the mom's, like you said, mom's the breadwinner. She's the rule maker. She's the butt kicker. She's the one. She's got to lay down the laws. And I understand they try to illustrate, because her mom is a lot like her when her mom was younger.
Yeah.
But I think it's another thing, is even us as parents sometimes forget that we were like our kids, and we were.
Yeah.
You're always like, this is how it's got to be, and then it's like a balance. I think.
But it
I don't
also is, it's also about those moms that don't think they're good enough, so they kind of have to overdo everything. They have to be tough. They have to be,
Right.
But in the end, she's not as
Right.
tough as she plays out to be, because her daughter knocks her out.
Right.
or those.
But I mean, it just goes to the moms that don't think they're good enough, and they just have to feel like they have to be tough all the time.
It's also I think the culture too, because in the beginning of the
Yeah.
movie, Maylin, she states about how, like, you pretty much worship your parents. That's just how it is, and especially her mother. She states when she turns on her friends after she attacks Tyler at the party, and her friends are like, no, we were all into this together, and Malin kind of turns her back on her friends, but then later on she explains it when she shows back up to the concert, that she did it because she's always trying to seek her mother's approval. She feels like she's never, getting the approval from her mother that she kind of desperately seeks. But then it got to the point where she just doesn't care, and that's why she stands up to her mother when her mom turns into this freaking massive red panda. Which, here's a question. The grandmother has a scar on her eye. Is that caused by the mother?
I'm assuming, because she said something about an argument, and she kind of, I think she touches up by her face.
Yeah, she said
Near
they
it.
used to be close until. Yeah.
If she always got that big, how did the grandmother survive?
That's a great question.
Because
I
she
don't
turns
know. I
into
mean,
the
they
biggest
can.
panda. And why? And that's the other thing I kind of was like, where's the explanation of why she turns so big? Is it because she's so angry? And the more angry you get, the bigger you become? Or
Maybe it's
is
just
this
the
just
type of
how
spirit.
or is this just how big she got every time? Because Jin talks about how her mom, that he's only seen the panda once, and it was when when Ming and her mother got into an argument about him, because the grandmother didn't approve of him. And it's like, but then you see her and you're like, holy I've been scared. Like, I couldn't have been more proud of your mother. I was like, I would have been terrified.
I think it's just an analogy for her, that May's mom just has a really strong flow.
Jesus Christ.
You know how much hate comments we're fixing to get for this episode? I'm just fucking around, people. Chill out. I don't
Talking about
understand.
nobody
It's
watches YouTube.
That's right. Well, we got the podcast version. Somebody will say something somewhere.
Let me just say, though, that not everybody's flow is the same, and it sucks. So I can understand her
I understand.
being a big
yeah.
panda.
I always
analogy for a word that I can't say.
never understood guys who would get mad because their partner, wife, whatever they are, would be pissed off during that. Do you know what they go through? I'd be fucking angry too. The things I had to do
during school.
I just throw things at my wife. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding.
The amount of seriously, when I was in high school and even after, when I was, I worked around a bunch of guys. Those guys like, oh my my girlfriend. It's that time of the month, and you're like, shut the fuck up, dude. You don't understand. You're an idiot.
I know. It's people.
What if you started bleeding from your ass? You got to shove something up there every fucking time, you idiot. You'd be a bitch about it.
My anus is bleeding. My anus is bleeding. Sorry.
Oh man.
10 points if you get that reference.
The music was done by Ludwig Göransson, who is the composer for. He recently did The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
He's done such films as like Tenet. He did Black Panther, Creed 2, Venom.
Nice.
And he does a lot of collaborations with Childish Gambino. I don't know if you know who that is, but
yeah, he sings about America.
Yeah.
I know who it is. I know. It's Danny Glover.
Yeah. The music for Four Town was written by Billie Eilish.
Of course it was.
And her brother played one of the members of Four Town. Phineas.
Really?
His name is Phineas. Shit. I literally just blanked. Phineas O'Connell, that's his name. His real name.
Jesse.
Oh yeah, because
Jesse.
Yeah, because there's like they mention like 3 of them, and then there's 2 more that just like, oh, they're talented too, and we still don't understand why they're Four Town because there's 5 of them.
That's what I said.
The mom said that. I was like, why is it Four Town and there's 5?
I said there's 5 of them, and she's like, why is it Four Town if there are 5 of them? I'm like, I just said the same thing.
So the number 4, you know how the grandmother says the number 4 is very unlucky. It's actually real. It's actually based on Chinese culture that the number 4 is unlucky. So I liked that.
There's another one for Japanese. It's a separate number, but I'm trying to think. It may be 4 as well. Let me look because it sounds very close to. I'm looking it up right now.
Well, the girl that played Abby has worked on Soul and Toy Story 4.
4 and 9 are considered unlucky numbers in Japanese. So there you go. Because it's yeah.
Yeah.
She's so angry.
She's very angry.
Yeah, Sandra Oh as Ming, fantastic. She's great in everything she's in.
Yeah, she's so great.
Where is she like big from? She was on Grey's Anatomy, right?
Yes.
For a long time.
For a long time.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Sandra Oh was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Was she? No, maybe not. I may be thinking of somebody. I'm thinking of somebody else. It's not
She's in a show called Killing Eve, which has been
I remember
5-6
that one.
seasons now. Yeah. Which has the girl who's in it was in Free Guy. She was like the main character from that.
220 episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
God, I wish that show would stop.
No, I don't.
Seriously. What are we on? Season 17 or something?
Yeah, please. Hey, if people who have anything to do with that show are watching this, stop it now.
No. I love it.
You canceled House, which is that was literally my favorite medical drama, and then they canceled it, and I was like, well, I'm never watching a medical drama ever again.
Listen. How many medical dramas do you have now? We had
all of them.
I watched The Resident, I watched The Good Doctor.
House, there was ER.
I didn't watch ER.
That was ER.
That was ER. Yeah.
And then you have, what are the ones you watch now?
That was the show my mom watched up until the time.
You watch all these medical dramas, and I'm still hung up on the motherfucker that was choking on the meat on Rescue 911 in the plane. I fucking remember that episode so vividly. I was like, what? They like, I cut it out of his throat. I was like, ah! It's like the wasp from Anaconda. Yeah.
He just goes.
Oh god.
He just goes up the urethra and puts out his little.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
like,
right.
oh no.
That's right, baby bird.
God. Wait.
I cannot wait till we
How
do
many times?
Anaconda, dude.
How many times have we referenced Anaconda in this? Any of these shows that we do?
Glad we get to talk about it. It's such a fun fucking movie.
It's so much fun.
Dude, I want to throw this out there because I was listening to the podcast and we just talked about it. Roger Ebert liked Anaconda. When it was reviewed, he liked it. So anyway, carry on. That was nothing to do with anything we're talking about today. But Anaconda, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Anaconda. So good. Oh man. So yeah, that's Turning Red. Like you said, we don't really go point for point on the plot in this show. Maybe down the road when we go through like the Pixar films, we'll do another episode of this and we'll kind of go through our normal show.
Canada.
But we just kind of sit down, we have a conversation of what we liked about the film, we didn't like about the film. We talk about, some key things in it. If there's anything we missed while talking about Turning Red, make sure to put it down in the comments.
I'm sure.
Well, we don't always. I mean, there's stuff like we mentioned even in other times we miss stuff. Like you mentioned.
All the time.
So even if you watch it after listening to our video, there's still more. And
right.
Personally, I do recommend watch it with your family. It's just going open minded. It's I don't think you need to do that, but just be rational. It's a fun movie. Just go watch it. You'll enjoy it by the end. And if not, it's on fucking Disney Plus, and it's not costing you nothing extra.
Yeah. Well, for our next episode of Fresh Cuts, even though we literally just talked about it before we started recording this, I'm just going to announce it anyway, so Dan's going to have to watch it. We're doing Fresh. We're going to do the Fresh Cuts on the movie Fresh. We're finally going to sit down and talk about it. It's been a little bit since they released it, but I watched it a while ago, and it was a damn good movie, and now I'm telling Dan he needs to watch it. And he doesn't look happy, but I feel like he's going to enjoy this movie.
Listen,
I feel like he's really going to enjoy it. Also, I just want to say I am probably going to be doing an episode of Slice of TV by myself on a show that I just got done watching called Joe versus Carol. It's the dramatic telling of the Tiger King, and I have to talk about it. And even if it's talking into the void,
it's like, you need to watch this.
I am going to sit down, record myself talking about Joe versus Carol because I have to.
Don't leave him high and dry, dear.
I'll keep no. I scroll past it. I'm like, no.
Watch it. You'll watch it. You'll.
It's actually a really good watch. I'll just say that. I won't go into any details on it. Also, I'm planning on covering. I do want to cover the Halo show that just dropped its first episode today, as of this recording. So we'll figure that out.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I've not watched Halo, and I really don't plan on it. But there better be low gravity jumps and circle strafing, or I'm not watching. It's gonna be shit.
Just from I haven't even watched the whole episode yet because my son wants to watch it with me. And there are things in it I'm like, they really did that. They did that. They added that detail to certain things. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was like, good on you.
There better be some hardcore fucking Lipton in there, dude. Or I'm gonna be pissed. Teabagging, bro.
Oh my goodness. So
can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
So this week, our shows will be. So this goes out on Monday. Wednesday will be our video debut of Resident Evil Extinction. Oh my god, fucking Resident Evil. And then Friday will be Batman Begins. Woo! Finally jumping into the Nolan verse when it comes
finally
to
out of the
movies.
shit stuff.
Yeah, we're fucking coming out of that shit pile.
All from here.
I'm very excited to venture into it. That's going to be it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure to leave a comment down below. And if you listen to us on Spotify, make sure to leave us 5 stars. And if you listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, I'm trying to think of all the podcast services, good pods, you can rate. You can rate us and write reviews. So make sure to do that because I like reading people's reviews of our show. I also like when people just rate us too. It's cool. Because guess what, guys? We finished top 10 in TV reviews, which is weird because we haven't done a TV review in a while, but we finished top 10 in TV reviews on Good Pods, and we also finished top 50 in movie reviews. So
heck yeah.
I want to keep that up. I want to keep going up, baby. So make sure if you listen on Good Pods, if you listen to podcasts on Good Pods, make sure to listen to us because we're pretty cool too.
We try.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
You should watch Jurassic Park 3.
You should do that. we don't get views anymore on the YouTube. I think we're shadow banned.
I think we are.
I don't know what's happening. Our YouTube channel just went. It's like it's nothing right now. But
listen, I'm gonna let you know.
Whatever.
Hey, I noticed our stuff really started plateauing off after the conflict in Ukraine started. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's correlation. I'm just letting you know. It's about when it leveled out.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep putting out shows regardless of how that goes. I really like to focus more on people listening to the show because I know podcasts I feel people listen to podcasts more than they watch them. So I'm okay with it. We put the video out there for people who want. I know there are people out there who like to watch the show, so that's for them. And I'm okay doing that little bit of extra work to make sure that those people can watch the show. But we've been doing great, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So no matter the performance, we're going to keep on trucking, baby. All right, before we go on a too long of a tangent, this has been Dissect That Film Fresh Cuts. I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye. Get out of here. Quack.